I walked in one day into my mother's bedroom. I was like, Mom, I'm dropping out of college.
Wow.
She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Mom, I'm like a multimillionaire. I started off with literally all the money I had in my bank account, $25,000. In less than 6 months, I managed to grow my portfolio from $25,000 to $1.7 million. And then late September, it all just crashed down. I lost it all. That is all I needed to fuel me into a different direction of entrepreneurship. And that's when I found real estate. I did everything. Fix and flip, Section 8, wholesaling, Airbnb development. It's the best business to be in. There is no other business that will give you the tax benefits, give you the cash flow, give you the equity of the appreciation, and allow you to leverage that asset to collateralize and get more loans.
Welcome back to Level Up Podcast. This is Paul Alex. Guys, we have another phenomenal interview in store for you guys. Now, let me go ahead and paint the vision for you. Imagine it is 2020 in the middle of COVID. You are doing trading. How many of you guys do trading, okay? All of a sudden, you're up millions, and then you lose it all. Oh my God. What do you do, right? Well, for the guest for today, that's exactly what happened to him, but he was able to bounce back and do it again. That's right, become a multimillionaire, but not through trading, but instead real estate and Airbnb. So we're going to interview this guest. He's going to tell you exactly how he was able to go from A to Z and how you can do something very similar as well. Brother, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, so for the people that don't know you, who are you?
My name is Fareed. I go by Reed. As Paul said, I used to do a lot of trading back in 2020. Started off as a day trader. This kind of stemmed from me just being heavily involved and interested in finance because I worked at an investment bank, and for a very long time I was so intrigued on like how money works. I remember like literally just going on Google when I was 19, 20 years old and literally typing into Google like how to make money online.
Yeah.
And that's where it started. And then there's a lot of opportunities in the market. You know, COVID hit, pharmaceutical companies were at all-time highs. Everything was, the market was like fluctuating a lot. So I, did what any other capitalist would do.
Yep.
Figured out a way to take advantage of that. Got heavy into day trading, options trading, high leverage trading. And I started off with literally all the money I had in my bank account at the time was just shy of $25,000. Half of that was split into my individual brokerage account, and then I had the other half in a Roth IRA that I wasn't trying to touch. But yeah, after that, I went all in less than 6 months. I was doing like $100,000 days. In less than 6 months, I managed to grow my portfolio from $25,000 just trading pharmaceutical companies and oil contracts and tech companies to $1.7 million. And this was all on like TD Ameritrade. This was all logged, screenshotted, recorded. I started a day trading community. I had people like following my trades every single morning. Market opened at 9:30, like the bell would go off, and we would just rip scalp trades on the market. Sometimes I would trade throughout the day. Some days I would just rip a few trades in the first AM sessions within the first 15 to 30 minutes of the market. And then it was crazy. I felt like I was at an all-time high in life, until it all shortly came crashing down. But, yeah.
So Reed, at that time you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
All right. So you're 20 years old. You became a multi-millionaire. You're on top of the world.
Yeah.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about lifestyle.
Yeah.
What do your parents think about this? What does your family think about this? Did you have a girl at the time?
I did not. No. But I was talking to a girl. I mean, my family, the biggest thing was my family's Middle Eastern. So my parents are first generation. They immigrated to this country very, very, a while ago, like around 36 years ago. So I tried to keep all the entrepreneur stuff away from them because in their eyes, there's only 2 ways to make money. 3 ways. They said I could have become a dentist, doctor, or a lawyer.
Yeah.
Because both my other older brothers are dentists. So I knew they would not be supportive of me becoming an entrepreneur. And I realized at a young age, the educational system, the academic system, it's all programmed and it's all a scam, and it's made to, make you think as a worker. So I always tried to figure out ways to not go to dental school. So when I was graduating, I was in my undergrad at University of Maryland. I was a junior at the time. I was 20 years old. I was a junior in college. I told myself, I have 2 years to figure this out because I am not going to become a dentist. I'm not. So
why were you so against being a dentist, man? I mean, for a lot of people listening, they're like, dude, that's a great profession.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just don't like working in a hospital, number one, or I don't like working in a dental practice. There's a lot of years of schooling, and I just hated that. It might be because I have ADHD, but I can't sit at a desk for too long and learn from someone who's not credible enough to teach me anything that he has done in his life.
I love that. I love that.
I hate being lied to.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to listen and sit at a desk to a professor who's teaching me about business who hasn't created a single preneur himself.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to learn about science from a science teacher who's not a scientist, or my English teacher who's teaching me about English who hasn't written any bestsellers himself.
Yeah.
Just being lied to constantly over and over and over again. At some point I was so fed up where I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And apart from the time freedom, the location freedom, the financial freedom, these are all things that a normal individual who's working a job would never get. Even my brothers make tons of money, don't get me wrong, but they're limited on travel, they're limited on vacation, they're very limited on what they can and cannot do. So I just I just hated being put in a box. So I always had to keep it low key, super, super under the radar, to answer your question, with my family. And they had no idea I was trading literally my life savings away at the time, until I walked in one day into my mother's bedroom, and I was like, Mom, I'm dropping out of college.
Wow.
She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Mom, I'm a multimillionaire. She's like, what?
Yeah.
And I showed her my bank account balance at the time at TD Ameritrade, $1.7 million, set it all there. That was a screenshot. I showed it to her. And she was like, is this real? And I was like, yeah, it's real. Why would it not be real?
Right.
And she's like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. She didn't understand it. And then it was crazy because every single day onwards, she was asking me about what I was doing, how the trading was going. And she would not stop harassing me about it over and over again, every single day from that day onwards.
Well, you piqued her interest.
I piqued her interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
what'd your brother say?
My brothers were trading with me.
Oh, really? So they knew all along.
They knew all along. They knew all along.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, can you please try to convince Mom to let me drop out? And they're like, no, I'd never do that. And I was like, okay, well, it's all.
Well, they're good brothers, man.
Yeah,
I mean, they're big on family. They don't want to hurt your mom, and I'm a big guy with my mom, dude. The reason why I even got into entrepreneurship was to retire my mom.
Yeah.
That was my first why, right?
Nice.
So I completely understand that, man. So you go ahead and you show your mom this, and then how long until you start going big?
Yeah. So at the time, I didn't. My personality is I would never show something that I can't prove results for. So I was showing her everything I was doing after it had already happened.
Yeah.
Right. And so she kept asking me about it. She kept I piqued her interest, obviously. And then day after day, I was making more and more money. And then I think around September, late September, it all just crashed down. Right. I lost it all. And it wasn't losing $10,000 a day, $20,000. No, it was I was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per day.
Yeah.
Because I was investing into options contracts. And when the theta starts to decay in your options contract, your contract of your stock that you purchased starts to become worthless. So I was losing hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. I was like, I was still high on life. I was spending money on my credit cards like I was a millionaire. I was still living my life. I was
What
going
were you
out.
spending the money on?
Going out. I was going out. I was
Like, give us an example.
I was partying. I would go to like a club and I would buy a section for like $7,000-8,000, and I would invite all my friends, girls, and actually that's a funny story because that's how I met one of my other mentors was at a club. But I was going out. I was traveling. I was spending money on stupid stuff. And then I racked up a bunch of credit card debt. I was probably like a good $150,000 in credit card debt. And then, yeah, it just all crashed and burned one day. I literally had nothing to show for it. My parents were still like on my ass about the whole trading thing.
Did they know that you had lost the money yet?
No.
Okay. So on top of the pressure,
Yeah.
on top of you losing it, dude, that's heavy, bro.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah. It was a lot.
So like, were you in a dark hole where you couldn't tell anyone?
Yeah. I mean, I felt, and the thing was this, like, it wasn't just me who lost money. It was a lot of other people as well. So
So it was your community.
it was my community. No, my community actually, a lot of people in my community made money and they kept it and they were smart. It's funny. My community members, there was probably like close to 200 other traders who were like copying my trades and stuff. They made, some kids actually made a lot more money than I did, but a lot of them who made their money were smart. They either dollar cost averaged into like other positions or sold their positions before the market crashed.
Wow.
I was the only one that was, I just felt like I was ahead of the market and I knew what I was doing. I was the only one who didn't sell.
Wow.
And like, there was this point where like my account was growing so fast. I went from $25,000 to like $100,000 in one day. And then I told myself, okay, let's hit $250,000 and then I'll sell some of it. And then we'll like, go into like more safe blue chip, stocks.
Right.
I went from 100,000 to like 350,000.
Oh my God.
So I shot past my $250,000 goal.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, all right, I'm like only 150,000 away from $500,000. Let me hit $500,000 and then I'll sell.
At what point does it start becoming gambling?
It was gambling because I kept telling myself that I was gonna sell at this time, and then I was like, let me hit $1 million and then I'll sell $1 million. And then I hit like 1.3. And then I was like, all right, screw it, let me hit 1.5 and I'll sell. And then I hit 1.7. So I was never hitting, and my ass was like, you know what? At least I'll have my Roth and I'll keep that in there, but I'll start like messing around with my individual account.
Yeah.
My individual account starts losing money. Then I start to recompensate by taking the money out of my Roth and like investing into my individual, and then everything just crashed and burned. I mean, it's really, really easy to think you're the shit when you are making so much money
Of course.
fast.
Yeah.
And then it's like when everything comes crashing down, then that's when you start to learn the lessons and you're like, okay, I should have done this better. I should have done that better. And so, yeah, that was it for me. That was like, I will never invest into an intangible asset ever again.
And this was still 2020 going into 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in this hole now. Parents still don't know. I mean, it's deep, and I'm pretty sure everybody that's listening to this and watching this, they're probably like, "Oh my God," they wouldn't even know what to do. So, what was the next step that you took, man? Did you get into deep depression? Did you go ahead and just have to like stay low for a few months? Like, what was your next move after that?
Yeah, I mean, my next move was like, I eventually told my parents. They were like, for them, they were more worried about my mental health.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like, hey, it's okay, don't worry. Like they were more worried about my mental health because I was in a state where like I had no more emotion, and I feel like that stage of my life really killed all the emotion that I still am lacking still to this day. And they were just glad that I was like safe at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the small things like that. And they were under the assumption, they were also very like relieved because they were under the assumption that I would finally start taking school seriously and I would go back. You know what I mean? they're like, okay, well, Fareed lost all this money, but the good thing is, like, he knows that entrepreneurship is not going to work out for him, so hopefully he'll go back to school.
Got it.
That was not it at all. That could have been further from the truth. I think that even though I was so mentally drained and exhausted and even depressed, as you can, tell, but at the time, like, that is all I needed to fuel me into a different direction of entrepreneurship, where I was like, okay, this didn't work. I have two options. I can either go back to school, which I did. I graduated. I took all my classes online and ended up graduating 2 years later with an undergrad in economics. So I could have done that route and go full on into dental school or gotten my MBA or whatever, or I could pivot and go into another business. And that's when I found real estate. I always knew I wanted to get into real estate. I just never knew how. And the entire purpose of me making all that money was to eventually sell it and allocate it towards buying my first house or getting some rental properties.
Makes sense.
So yeah, and the next thing I started Googling was how to make money online with real estate.
And how long was that transition from the time that, the first business went down?
Yeah.
And then going ahead and picking yourself up again, because that is the key takeaway here, guys. If you guys are listening to this story, for a lot of people, they'll go through very bad critical incidents in their life where they'll never recover from it, right? Or they end up doing some crazy shit like drugs or party or alcoholism, right?
I was close.
Brother, it happens to everybody, dude.
Yeah.
It even happened to me, right? So at the end of the day, man, the good thing is you were able to pick yourself up and use a negative event that happened in your life and use it for positive.
Yeah.
Which you went ahead and used that pain into fuel. So how long was the transition until you started going ahead and start doing your due diligence and your research again?
Yeah, it was while the ship was sinking. So I saw holes in the ship. People were jumping ship. It was a bloodbath in the market, right? But at the time, the NASDAQ was at an all-time low, and there was a bunch of stuff going on. So I knew I had to pivot fast. I didn't think I would lose that much amount of money fast, but I knew I had to pivot. Like once I lost a few $100,000, I was like, okay, let me start looking for an exit strategy. I was planning to invest a lot of it into like buying houses, but then I started losing money a lot faster than I could pivot. And then when I hit rock bottom, I was like, okay, like I need to get into real estate. And then that's when I found, even before Airbnb, that's when I found real estate wholesaling. So I got into wholesaling.
Okay.
I was like, there's got to be a way I can, make some money and make some cash, wholesale a couple deals, and start buying some rental properties, because all the rich people I know own rentals.
Yeah.
And the 9 out of 10 millionaires are in real estate. So I am trying to become that statistic.
So wholesaling, you end up doing research. Do you end up investing into like a program? You get a mentor. Where did you really start doing your market research with wholesaling?
So at the time, I met a couple mentors, right? But for wholesaling, I found a mentor, and he was very cheap. I actually didn't have to pay him anything. I just literally moved to Philadelphia where he lived, and I slept on his couch.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So at that point, I was doing all my schooling online. I created like a letter. I sent it to my dean, getting an exception. On doing my classes online for like COVID and stuff. I just wrote them a letter saying, hey, I can't attend in-person classes. So while I was taking all my classes and graduating, I was also under a lot of pressure, obviously, from my family, and I couldn't live at home. So I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm gonna move out. So I moved out, and I lived with my mentor in Philadelphia, and I slept on his couch for like 6 months. And yeah, that's how I got into wholesaling.
So how'd you find your mentor?
Online. Yeah. Literally, that. I was just like, I was doing
Facebook groups, communities.
Yeah, it was literally through Instagram. I met him through a mutual friend on Instagram, and then I DM'd him, and that's how I found my first mentor. And yeah, I literally just like flew out, and I was like, dude, I'll literally clean your dishes, I'll fucking wash your laundry, I'll do whatever it takes, bro. Just let me like learn from you, because I want to get into the space of real estate, and I'll do whatever it takes. And he's like, okay, well, come live with me. And I was like his little like intern.
Yeah. No, I love that because you went ahead and you didn't expect a free handout, man.
Yeah.
You were like, hey, I'll wash your dishes. What do you need me to do, right?
Yeah.
Put yourself at service. And I think for a lot of people, when they go out and they reach out to a lot of these business consultants online, they expect something for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you did the opposite, man. You went ahead and provided value.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, I always realize like there's two ways for someone to take you seriously, right? You either can provide an insane amount of value and bring something to the table, or you pay them in exchange for their time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's both.
Yeah.
There's many mentors where I had to pay, the last mentor I just paid, I literally, he's like a pretty well-known developer here in Florida and in Texas, paid him $50,000. Like literally just to learn how to build houses.
Yeah.
There's mentors that I met for free. I slept on their couches. There's the mentors. I met one of my other mentors at a club. He owns a mortgage lending business, and how those like bottle girls come out with the signs and stuff. He had like his company logo on his sign, and it said like, "We lend money," just something simple like that. And then I walked up to him and I met him. But yeah, there's many ways to connect to people.
I love that.
And mentors changed my life, significantly changed my life because. There's no point of learning through the educational system through people who haven't, done anything for themselves. For me, it's a lot easier to collapse my time because I value my time a lot to learn from people who have done what I want to accomplish.
Right. So you rather go ahead and connect yourself with those people that have already done what you're trying to do so you can mimic their process and you can learn from them.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense, man. And, I think for a lot of people, they just don't see it that way. They think that, hey, I'm going to go to college and, it's the American dream to go ahead and get the 4-year and then go ahead and do a career, right? But I think now with everything that's going out, dude, AI, all the resources that we have in the online space, dude, it's actually very doable to go ahead and connect with people, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Because I get the question all the time, how can I go ahead and network, right?
Yeah.
Online, dude.
Yeah, online. It's the best university. A lot of it's for free. And I would seriously encourage anyone who's listening or watching this right now to like find someone who's already crushing it in their space. Like find whatever it is, a high income skill that you want to, do, right? And if you're young and you're watching this, I would suggest sales as a good skill to learn.
It is.
Find someone who's crushing in this space, learn from them, get coaching from them, and don't just buy like a bullshit course or anything, right? Like and a lot of people are different. Some people like to learn from courses. Some people like to, and that's whatever works for you. Me personally, I've always learned hands-on.
Yeah.
Right? Like one-on-one, being in the trenches, learning. I'm a visual learner. And I realized most people are like that as well. So for me, like what worked was coaches, mentors, someone I can call, like literally a contact in my phone where if I don't know something, I can call them.
Right.
Right. And now AI is great, ChatGPT is great, and everything's out there, but AI can't give you real life examples and experiences of what to do in a particular situation, so that's why having a mentor is really helpful.
There's still an operator feeding AI the information. So either way it goes, AI is not going to replace the experience.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what you're buying into or you're providing value to get that, is that experience, right? So that's good, man. I like your point of view, brother. So you went into wholesale. How long until you went ahead and landed your first deal?
It's funny. I didn't do a single deal at all during the 6 months that I lived with my mentor. I didn't do a single deal.
And this was in 2021.
2021 now. And I didn't. It was really, really hard because I was trying my hardest and I just wasn't good. I wasn't good at cold calling. I wasn't good at sales, and I didn't know how to talk to people over the phone to get them to trust me to give me their houses to buy. And because I was literally behind a trading desk my entire life, I was just behind a desk and that's all I was doing. And before that, I had small other businesses and actually had an ATM business, which was funny. But so that was like the hardest 6 months of my life because I was not only learning how to underwrite properties, run comps on houses, learn about real estate, but real estate's its own language as well. But then amongst that as well is learning sales, learning how to get people to trust you.
Yeah.
through just rigorous amounts of cold calling.
Persuasion, man.
Persuasion, yeah. That's
You know,
Yeah.
gotta go ahead and have those phone skills. Gotta have that gift of gab and everything, right?
Yeah.
And I like the way you describe. You're like, I was a trader, you know, AKA meaning that you didn't have to talk to no one.
Yeah, just clicking buttons on the
that's
screen
it,
and
man.
just printing money out of thin air.
That's
I thought that
it.
was the life.
And you know what? To be honest, you know, people ask me all the time. They're like, Paul, if you were to do it differently, would you? I was just like, yeah, if I was smart enough to go ahead and do something like you did, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and print money by, you know, going ahead and picking different options. But, you know, with me, I had to learn the hard way, man. I had to learn through experiences and all that jazz. But no, that's good, man. So you went ahead and you went through a rough 6 months. So you went through a shaky season.
Yeah.
And then after those 6 months, what happens?
So I did a lot of deals on my own after that, right? I learned a lot from my mentor. He taught me everything I needed to know about just real estate and just sales. Like my mentor, Adam, he has like the gift of gab. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like he's not like a closer. Like if you go on the phone with them, you're gonna get closed. But like the way he talks to you and the way he like controls and runs his verbal mannerisms or whatever, even in person, people just gravitate towards him. And people just trust him. And in sales, like trust is everything. Nobody's gonna sell you a house or do business with you if they don't trust you. So that's
100%.
the number one, like, and he always taught me like the 3 C's of getting someone to trust you is care, confidence, and credibility.
I love that.
You have to let people know you care about them because if you don't, you're not going to provide value to them, and then people are not going to do business with you because they think you're a selfish person. The second one is confidence. You have to be confident that whatever you're promising the other person, you can actually come through on and be confident in your abilities. And then the third is credibility. And credibility is one thing I never had because I just had gotten started in real estate. So I didn't have a portfolio. I didn't have, many rentals, and I didn't have a credible business and whatnot. So that's why I found a mentor. That mentor helped me close more wholesale deals later down the road because he allowed me to leverage his portfolio that he had of rental properties. Yeah. And now I had the 3 C's.
Right.
And I was able to leverage and use his experience and expertise in his rental portfolio to close my own wholesale deals. So after that 6-month internship period, I did wholesaling for an entire year, the entire year of 2021. At that same time, I was using all the money I was making from wholesaling into investing into Airbnbs. So I started learning about the Airbnb game. And I just took off. I just went full into real estate. I tried Airbnb. Used some of that money. I tried to flip. I had some houses that I had bought that I had rented on Section 8 as well. So I did everything.
So you did a mixture of everything, brother.
Yeah.
That's amazing, In which path would you say you were like, this is my favorite. This is the one that's going to take me up to that next level?
It was Airbnb. And the reason was because a lot of stuff was too transactional in the wholesale business. And a lot of it was out of your control, right? So in a wholesale business, you have to get a really good deal on a distressed house. And then you have to find a buyer to buy that distressed house. So if I get a property for $100,000, I need to find a buyer to buy it for over $100,000, maybe for $120 or whatever. And then that buyer will come in, fix that property up, and resell it. So there was a lot of moving parts, right? You have to, number one, convince the seller to sell their house to you, right? Someone they have never met.
Yep.
Then you have to convince a buyer to buy that house from you, someone they've never met, right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully the house gets cleaned on the title. Hopefully it doesn't come back with any backdated taxes or any liens or anything, right? That always sucks if title comes back and says, hey, the homeowner owns $50,000 in water bills. You can't sell that house. So there was a lot of moving parts, and I was like, all right, there's got to be an easier way for me to just, set up a business, have it run for me, and have it be passive. So that's why I got into Airbnb, because I always knew that with my money that I was going to make from wholesaling, I was going to buy rental properties.
Yes.
Why not just buy rental properties or get into the Airbnb short-term rental business that makes significantly more than your traditional long-term rental? So that's when I figured it clicked for me. And I was like, okay, I need to get into short-term rentals.
Yeah.
That's my next business. So, and again, I've done fix and flips. I've done Section 8. It all works. I love it all. That's the thing is like a lot of real estate gurus and people online nowadays, they like shit on each other, right? The Section 8 guys will shit on the Airbnb guys and then vice versa. And then developers come in, they're like, oh no, development's the best. And like my thing is, as long as like you're in real estate or you're investing into some aspect of real estate, you're ahead. Because for me, just any form of investing in real estate, whether it's fix and flip, Section 8, wholesaling, Airbnb, development, whatever it is, it's the best business to be in. Nate, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is no other business that will give you the tax benefits, give you the cash flow, give you the equity of the appreciation, and allow you to leverage that asset to collateralize and get more loans.
Yeah.
There's just no other business. It's the best.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, unless you build a multi-million-dollar business within your first couple of years where, you know, it's evaluated at multi-millions and, you know, then the bank is able to go ahead and give you loans. But the chances of that happening to, like, let's say a beginner, right? Yeah. Especially come from like a 9 to 5 and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm building a multi-million-dollar. It doesn't happen, dude.
I forgot the statistic, but it's like 90% of the businesses fail within the first year of being launched. And then out of the remaining variants, the rest fail within the first 5 years. Yeah. And like, they're not able to like sustain their overhead. Yep. But like the beauty about a short-term rental is you don't even have to buy houses to do Airbnb. That's when I was like, holy crap, this game is insane.
Okay, that's interesting. So talk about that, man. Like, okay, let's talk about that because I think that's one thing that would hold a lot of people back is the fact that they would have to go ahead and have the money to invest into some property in order to do the Airbnb. But you're saying right now that, you know, you could go ahead and start the Airbnb business without owning the property. So what would be, I guess, a step-by-step for a beginner right now listening?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. Keep in mind, I went from a $25,000 stock portfolio to millions of dollars, then losing it all. So I was forced to start from nothing. So I literally just found, like I went on Zillow, which is a rental website where you can find other listings that are being put up for rent or sale or whatever. Yeah. I went on Zillow, like literally in the location that I was living at the time was in Maryland, near DC area. I found like super luxury, single family, nice houses around 3 to 4 bedrooms listed for rent. Yeah. I found the houses. I contacted the homeowners and I literally told them, like I offered my services to manage their property. Okay. I was like, hey, like I know you're listing your property for rent on, 123 Main Street for $3,000 a month. Have you ever been opposed to listing this property as a short-term rental instead? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, okay, well, I own a hospitality management company. I'd be willing to sign a management agreement with you to take your house that you have listed. We can do it as a short-term rental. I can get it photographed because these houses were already furnished too. Yeah. I would target furnished properties.
Smart. That way you don't have to buy anything.
I don't have to set up furniture. I don't have to buy couches. I don't have to buy beds. Like the biggest overhead in a short-term rental business is the furniture setup and all that stuff, right? So I would target properties that were already furnished on Zillow within 3 to 5 bedrooms. I would sign like 6-month to 1-year management agreements with those homeowners. And I would list the property as a short-term rental on Airbnb, VRBO, and a few other websites. And I would take 25% of all the cash that we would collect in revenue each and every single month as a property manager. Yeah. Like via commission. Yeah. And so these houses that I was listing were not only making double what the homeowner had it listed for, right? I remember my first rental property I ever did was in Virginia. The homeowner's mortgage was like $3,000. I listed it as a short-term rental, and within the first month, we generated $6,500 in revenue. Wow! And we had like out of a 30-day calendar, we had maybe like 20 days booked. So it was at like just around under 70% occupancy. Wow! And we made $6,500, and I collected 20% of that. So I made my like first $1,300 check, and I was like, that hit my account, and I was like, holy crap! Like this is a legitimate business. Yeah. So then I got a few other properties under management. I started managing other people's houses. Started to build my credibility. Right, the 3 C's, going back to that. Then I had the care, I had the confidence, and now I had the credibility because I had like 5 or 6 of these rental properties. Then I started to get my own Airbnbs. The next level after that, after managing, was signing my own leases.
Right.
So then I went back to those same houses that were listed on Zillow for rent. Instead of pitching them property management to take 20, 25% commission, I would offer to take over the entire lease. I would pay them 100% of their rent, and I would in turn take that property with their legal permission, of course, and relist it on Airbnb, and I would make double what they had it listed for rent in revenue. So I'd make like $6,000 to $7,000 of revenue on these houses, and instead of collecting 20% as a manager, I would collect 100% of it.
Wow. So like when you go ahead and you negotiate those type of deals, when you try to take over the lease and you're paying them the full amount, I mean, obviously they're happy, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh man, you're cashing out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's a home run for homeowners. But the second thing is I guess the objection.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you dealt with it before where homeowners are like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
How do you get over that?
Yeah, so I mean, it all comes back to the psychology of like putting yourself in other people's shoes. Like you have to understand, like, why are all these middle-aged people renting their properties out on Zillow? Well, it's probably because their CPA 20 years ago told them that buying real estate was good to reduce their taxes and X, Y, and Z. And that's why the average homeowner is like 35 or 40 years old with their property on Zillow and they want to rent it out. And so you as an investor can come in and provide value, right? Because finding a good tenant nowadays that will actually pay your rent on time, take care of your house, and not damage it is pretty rare.
Yeah.
Right? But if you as a company come in and provide all 3 of those things like we do, right? And we even have short-term rental insurance for all of our properties that we sign leases for. We will not only guarantee your rent every single month on time via ACH on the 1st of every month, but we will take good care of it because my team and my property managers do inspections weekly on our houses, and our cleaners come out after every single checkout and check in, just like hotels, and we clean and we take care of the houses. But also, like, we treat their house like it's ours.
Wow.
Because we're running a business out of it.
Yeah.
And so we need it to be upkept. And so you provide all these things to a homeowner, they're getting their guaranteed rent per month. In what world would anyone be opposed to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you, like, if I paid you guaranteed rent every single month on your house with whatever you were asking for, would you care what I did with the house?
No. I mean, as long as you have like you said, the social proof that, you could take care of it, I'd be okay with it.
And every single month I allow my homeowners to come into the house, they inspect it to make sure it's upkept, to make sure it's, you know what I mean? I'm not living in there myself.
Yeah.
Right? So everything's like pretty much up to code, up to standard at all times. And we literally guarantee our homeowners that we're going to give them the house back into the same condition that we take it on.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. So from going ahead and learning this concept and running with it and getting a few, now where are you at scale?
So at scale, 2023, I used all the money I made from my property management business and arbitrage, because I would start arbitraging and signing my own leases, right? 2023, I bought my first house.
Wow.
Okay, it was a house I actually bought from my mentor who wholesaled it to me.
Yeah.
So it was in North Philly. It was in Germantown, Philadelphia. I bought a house for $100,000 cash. My mentor got it under contract for $80,000, so he made $20,000 off of me via wholesale fee.
Nice.
I took the $100,000, I bought it. It was a fixer-upper. I put $30K into it. I was all in like $130 with interest on the loan and stuff, or I'd say like $140. And then it got reappraised for $210.
Nice.
So I had a lot of equity in the house. I Airbnb'd it for a few months. My mortgage was like, my monthly payments were like $900.
Oh, wow.
And I was doing like close to $3K in revenue.
Yeah.
Like $3,200 in revenue every single month as a short-term rental.
Oh, yeah.
And so I actually ended up selling that as a business. So I came in, fixed it up, got it appraised for a higher value, had a lot of built-in equity into the asset. Then I flipped it to an investor, not only cashed out on all my equity, but I sold it to them as a stabilized cash flowing rental as well.
Wow.
So I added like a small little multiplier on top. I think it was reappraised for, I got appraised for like around 210,000. I think I sold it to them for like 230.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I got another 20K out of that just via, handing them an asset.
Wow. And that in itself is another business.
Yeah.
Which is the amazing part about it.
Buying properties, stabilizing them, and then flipping them as a business. Yeah.
It's almost like a done with you, done for you concept, man, because a lot of people don't want to go through those steps to do it because it takes time and effort and expertise,
Exactly,
right?
yeah. Some people just take my money and give me something that's already cash flowing.
So is that what you ended up doing? You ended up going ahead and building that business concept?
I did it for a while, but then I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to grow my own portfolio. I don't really care about, at that time I wasn't really coaching or teaching anyone how to do anything. I was like, I'm a big firm believer in understanding how to build my own business before helping others. Like I want my cup to be overflowing before I'm able to because I don't want a lot of these people nowadays that will get like one rental property or do like, one real estate transaction. All of a sudden they're selling a course online, teaching other people to do the same.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy. So I did it for a while. After I bought my first house in 2023, I bought my second in 2024, and I bought a third that same year. I have a few houses that I own right now that are rentals for short-term rental. A lot of them are arbitrage though. So I have around I used to have a lot more, but now I'm sitting around 35 arbitrages.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. So a lot of my properties that I have are just long-term leases with homeowners that I'm subleasing.
Right.
But I'm thinking about just because I had around 50 to 60 of them, and I sold a few to kind of spend more, invest more money into buying houses. Because for me, buying was the end goal. There's always levels to the game, right? I started as a property manager, then I started doing arbitrage, and then I started buying houses and putting them on Airbnb, and then now my next goal is development.
Yeah.
So I literally closed on my first lot in Texas 6 months ago, and we're doing a ground up construction on a $2 million house.
I love that.
That one will probably not be an Airbnb. I'll probably end up flipping that, but I want to start getting into building and developing affordable $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 houses and turning those into Airbnbs.
Wow.
Because short-term rental is just a short-term rental is just an exit play. It's just an avenue to cash flow and make money from, right? But up to that point, you can decide on how you want to do it. You can either buy a short-term rental, build one, sublease one, manage one. The reason why I love real estate is because you can be so creative. There's so many ways to skin a cat per se. In this industry, there's so many ways to do a deal, to get a deal done.
And where do you see the future with Airbnb?
A lot of people say Airbnb is not going to last. It's not going to be there for a long term. Whatever ends up happening with the platform itself, right? Because a lot of people are going and doing business through private booking websites now and other websites. The way I see it is like Uber and taxis, right? It's like rideshare. Rideshare, there's always demand for rideshare. Whether it's going to be Uber, whether it's going to be Lyft, whether it's going to be a taxi, whether it's going to be another app in 5 years, there's the demand for rideshare will never go away. So same thing with housing. There's, people need food, shelter, and water.
It's essential.
It's essential, right, to us, to life. So the concept of people needing furnished places to stay on a short-term basis while they travel for vacation, work, etc., will never go away.
Yeah.
And when I figured that out, I was like, okay, well, I'm in a business that has high demand. Americans spend trillions of dollars traveling every single year, just within the country. So whether it's another app, whether it stays on Airbnb, whatever it is, I'm always going to be ahead of the short-term rental game, because for me, I'd rather run a short-term rental business and make double to triple the revenue on what these old folks are making on their long-term rentals. No hate to anyone who has long-term rental, because those are truly passive, but I would rather make double to triple the revenue on a short-term rental than owning something and renting out long-term.
So break it down, let's say to one of our listeners. Let's say here's the scenario. They're working 9 to 5. Let's say they have about 20K in savings. Okay, they want to invest it into our cash flowing business, but obviously, like everyone else, they wanted to do a passive, right?
Right.
So, Airbnb. What would be the first couple of steps that you would advise this beginner?
Yeah, I mean, first thing is like mentally understanding that nothing's passive in life.
I love that.
If so many people will sell you the dream and say, yeah, real estate's passive. Like, all right, dude, if you're trying to half-ass something, sure. But like, if you're trying to become really successful at something, no matter what it is, a business, nothing's going to be passive for you.
Yeah.
So be ready to be hands-on. Now, if you want it to be 110% hands-off, you can obviously hire property managers, whatever. For me, I wanted to be hands-on because this is my main income.
Yeah.
So what I would do with the $20,000 is I would invest it into a small short-term rental arbitrage. I would find an Airbnb or a short-term rental, whatever, on Zillow. I would find a nice luxury property. I would say like 10, 15 minutes from a major city that has good attraction, near a hospital, near, office buildings, whatever. And I would make sure it's already furnished. Because, furnishing a property takes a while. Then you don't want to, spend money doing that. So I'd find a furnished property as well. And I would go to the homeowner and I would make him a proposal. I would go to them, sign a 2-year lease with the homeowner, make them a proposal, tell them that you're going to guarantee their rent every single month, and take that house, get the legal permission to re-sublease it as an Airbnb. And setting those properties up is really like very easy. You're paying first month's rent, which is around $3,500 to $4,000 for a size of property like that, and then first month's security deposit, which is another $3,500 to $4,000. So you're all in like $8,000. Property's already furnished. It's turnkey. It's done. Sign one of those leases, and you're like, my good rule of thumb is that I want to be profiting whatever the rent is. So if the rent of a property is $3,500, I want to make sure after all expenses, cleaning costs, turnovers, and everything, I'm making around $3,500 in profit, right, per deal.
Yeah.
So one of those will literally help you break even on your investment within like 3 months, 4 months. And you have those properties for 2 years straight.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So if you think about it, the average business, as we were going back to before, like 90% of the businesses go bankrupt and fail within their first year of being in business. This business literally helps you break even within 3 months if you find a good short-term rental, a good property. And now you have a cash flowing asset that's going to cash flow for the remaining 2 years of your lease.
Yeah.
With 20K, you could get like 3 of those.
That's amazing, man. What you don't know is what you don't know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So how long have you been going ahead and now consulting, actually helping people do this, man? Because this is amazing stuff. I never knew this.
Yeah.
So how long have you been helping now people learn this?
Yeah, I've always been like big in the coaching space before like coaching became like a big thing on social media. But truth is, I would not have been able to do any of this without my coaches and my mentors. So, I post a lot on social media. My Instagram is Reed Abedini. So I post a lot on social media, and I'm super passionate about it because I like helping other people out. Yeah. I'm a man of faith. So I truly believe that like God put me on this planet to become a vessel to help as many others as possible. And I'm teaching other people through like through mentorship, through coaching and consulting. So I've been doing it for a couple years now. I find a great sense of fulfillment in it.
I love it.
Like I genuinely hope at least one person who's listening to this can experience this in their lives, but there's no better feeling than someone random walking to you, like literally walking up to you at a conference you're speaking at, right? And saying, bro, I've been following you for so long and I'm inside of your coaching program and you changed my life. Yeah. And now I started with 0 properties and now I'm at 6 houses and I'm doing a consistent amount of like $18,000 to $19,000 a month in cash flow. Wow. Like it happens all the time. Some people stop me in the street. Some people, they come to conferences. I spoke at a conference in Chicago a while ago. And it's the best feeling ever. So that's like a high in itself, That's amazing, man. Yeah.
What would you say is one of your most memorable client success stories?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
One that touches the heart, man.
One that touches the heart?
Yeah.
I had this I had this student named Travis. He's actually one of my chief acquisition officers at my company at MMM now. He runs my acquisition side, but he started off as a student. So
that's the best, man.
Those are I only hire from my program, from my student program.
Smart, because you vetted them already.
I vetted them.
They did the work.
They're willing to invest up front. They did the work. They're willing to take risks. That these are all things that we want to see.
Of course.
Right? So yeah, whenever I hire, I always hire from my internal programs and my communities. So no, but this one really touched my heart because he literally spent every last dollar to his name to invest into me. He invested his time and money into me.
Yeah.
And so when he did that, he was living in a small town in Mississippi. He invested every single last dollar he had into our program, and we flew him out. We run quarterly events. So we flew him out for, I think it was our Q4 event at the time of 2024. And he came in person. We met up with him. We brought him to the office in Texas, and he loved it so much. He loved the energy. He loved the team. He loved literally everything. He put, I think, a 1 month, a 30-day notice at his job and his lease in Mississippi, and he moved everything over to Texas. He moved to Dallas. I was like, and I didn't even know. I didn't even know until he showed up one day. He flew in a month later after our Q4 event. Now it was around January, February. And he was like, hey, bro, I moved here. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I sold everything back at home and I live here now. And I'm like, holy shit, what are you going to do, bro? Because we were in the process of still helping him get his credit and his funding for his business, setting up his LLC before we helped him get properties. There's a process, right? And he was like, yeah, I just got a server job down the street. I'm going to be hustling here, and I want to come into the office every single day, and I want to make this work.
I love that.
So I was like, holy crap. And long story short, we gave him in the process of helping him acquire some rental properties for his portfolio, we gave him a job at the company.
Yeah.
As a small little first tier sales position. He crushed it in his first month, and we leveled him up to a sales leader, sales manager. And then after that, I was like, dude, you're crushing it. It's always the people that take everything that they learn and apply it as fast as possible. He's a very fast paced guy.
Right.
That just do so well.
Yeah.
And at that time, 4 months in, he started to get a bunch of rental properties as well. We structured up his business. We got him funding. He had 4 to 5 Airbnbs. So he was making money passively on that end as well. And he was making active income from the business. At that point, he quit his server job. And now he's my head acquisition officer at MMM, and he's dominating. He's crushing it. And he bought his dream car. He got his dream apartment, and he's crushing it.
That's fire, dude. That's fire. And that's a true definition of burning the boats.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
he burned the boats,
there's no other alternative. Just burn them all.
How did you feel, man? That's an aha moment for you.
Yeah.
And the reason why I see that is because when you go back to when you went and you were couch surfing on your mentors, couch, dude, and you moved from your parents, right? Yeah. It's almost an aha moment for someone else to do that for you.
Yeah, I've had a couple interns over the last few years. I've had a couple interns. I was always big on recording the journey and recording the process. So throughout me wholesaling, throughout me doing Airbnb, I always had other interns on social media who would swipe up on my stories and say, hey, can I come shadow you? Or hey, can I come live with you? Whatever.
Yeah.
So I always had people coming in out of my house, sleeping on my couch, recording me. In exchange, I would teach them how to do Airbnb and get their first rental. Because back then I wasn't charging anything.
Right.
But this was one of the times where it really paid off, and I think it's because he literally put every single last dollar into his bank account and invested into himself.
Yeah.
And then I knew this guy has what it takes.
No, for sure. I mean, you have so much belief, man, that that's the definition of having skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Going ahead and putting your last dollar into it. It has to work or it has to work.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So I love that, man. So what would you say it takes as far as having the proper mindset, man? Let's say somebody wants to go ahead and do this business. What type of proper mindset do you believe someone needs to have in order to get into this business and be successful, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
what type of advice would you give to the listeners right now?
Just be ready to learn more than you earn on your first deal, in your first year of being an entrepreneur. Like, you have two options. You can either pay to collapse time and to learn from someone who's already done it,
Right.
or you can figure it out yourself,
Yeah.
depending on what type of learning style you like. A lot of people like to learn by fire. They like to figure it out themselves. I've done that many times. I'm at a stage now where I would rather invest into a mentor because I have too much to lose now in terms of like my energy, my time, and et cetera. So it's just investing everything you can and realizing that at the end of the day, so many people like shit on people who do 9-to-5s or work a 9-to-5 job. But if you're really smart, figure out a way to use the active income you're making right now into investing into something that's more residual and passive.
Smart.
Have both,
I love
right?
that.
Don't burn the ships too early. Obviously, I gave you an extreme example of one of my students who now became a part of the team, but you don't need to burn the ships early. You can use the active income you're making right now, use your job, use your 9-to-5 to fuel that 5 to 9, to fuel that business. But if you're not doing anything from 5 to 9, and if you don't have a separate business or rental properties or whatever it is, you're going to be trading your time for money for the rest of your life. And to me, like, that is the peak definition of just wasting your talent.
Yeah.
So
Because the minute that you stop working, man, that's it. The income stops.
God forbid, like most Americans, I read this statistic, most Americans are one car crash away from like financial poverty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It matches that saying that I love. One of my really good friends, he goes by Nehemiah Davis. He always says this. I'll never forget it. He said this 4 years ago at an event. He goes, if you only got one source of income, you're only one step away from poverty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it happens to everybody, dude. It happens to everyday people, man. That's why it's important. So if you want to give some words of advice for people to level up in 2025, man, what would it be?
Find a mentor. Find a mentor. I feel like so many people nowadays are trying to invent things or come up with the new things, but there's so much value in just doing what already works.
Yeah.
Right. And the most important thing is a lot of people don't. So you're just putting in an unreasonable amount of work ethic to the point where it's absurd for you not to get results. Just work harder than everyone else does. Find a mentor. Put your time to use wisely. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again every single day and getting the same results and not doing anything different.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be that. You don't want to be insane.
Right.
But make progress, work towards your goal, figure out what your vision is, what your 5-year plan is, 10-year plan is. Find someone who's already living that life and just pay him for his time. Whether it's a coffee, for lunch or dinner, or whether it's for a 1-year program, or whether it's a conference, like just get into those rooms however way you can.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's some great information. I'm a big believer in that. And you learned that at a young age, man.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people say that. They're like, oh, you're so young. But it's like, I've ate enough shit to
100%. You got a lot of experience, my friend, at a
learned
very
the hard
young
way,
age, brother.
I got lucky at a
Respect.
young age to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To learn more.
Well, that's what we always say. You want to make the mistakes at that age,
Yeah.
around your 20s, better than in the 30s and the 40s when you have a family and
Of
kids and all
course.
that jazz,
There's more
right?
to
Now you're
lose,
just like,
yeah.
oh my God, what do I do, right?
Yeah.
So it's good, man. And where can my audience find you, brother?
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, read Abedini.
Okay. And then do you have anything like as far as like a free community, any resources that you could go ahead and provide to my audience?
Yeah, my YouTube's pretty big. I'm going to be going big on YouTube.
Love it.
I'm just started it, but I'm going to be posting a lot of value, a lot of education on there. I'm really big on value, so I give a lot of away for free. I speak on conferences for free. I have to fly to DC next week to speak at a real estate meetup as well. But yeah, just shoot me a DM. I do pretty well at responding to a lot of my DMs on Instagram. So shoot me a DM, if you want to chop it up, talk about anything, you need some advice. And yeah.
And there you guys have it. Reed was able to go ahead and transition from trading, losing millions, and then going ahead and building himself up to the greater version of himself once again, guys. And before the age of 25. Look at that, guys. Amazing, right? See, guys, it all is up to you. Okay, it's about your environment, your mindset, what you listen to, who you are around, and just follow Reed's advice. Go ahead and learn from those mentors, from those people that already accomplish what you want to do in life. Guys, we are top 3 in business because of you guys, the millions of listeners that have been listening to this for the past year, guys. Thank you once again. Leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. We actually have a brand new YouTube channel. Emilio, what is the handle?
The Level Up Podcast.
That's right. The Level Up Podcast, guys. We moved it from official Paul Alex to the Level Up Podcast. Brand new YouTube channel, guys. This episode's going to be on there. Make sure to check it out. Once again, guys, this is Paul Alex. This is the Level Up. Catch you on the next one. Peace.